Sensory perception is this ongoing interweavement. The terrain enters into us only to the extent that we allow ourselves to be taken up within that terrain. To our indigenous ancestors, and to the many Aboriginal peoples who still hold fast to their oral traditions, language is less a human possession than it is a property of the animate earth itself, an expressive, telluric power in which we, along with the coyotes and the crickets, all participate. Each creature enacts this expressive magic in its own manner. The honeybee with its waggle dance no less than a bellicose, heroic frenzy of life. Nor is this power restricted solely to animals. The whispered hush of the uncut grasses at dawn, the plaintive moans of trunks rubbing against one another in the deep woods, or the laughter of birch leaves as the wind gusts through their branches, all bear a thicket of many-layered meanings for those who listen carefully. In the Pacific Northwest, I met a man who'd schooled himself in the speech of needled evergreen. On a breezy day, you could drive him blindfolded to any patch of coastal forest and place him, still blind, beneath a particular tree. The jewels of sunlight, caught in the long tangle of nerves, wander the drifting landscape of our earth-born bodies like deer moving across the forested valleys.
El otro mira al agua, su pensamiento flota. Hijo del mar, navega o se pone a volar. Su pensamiento tiene un vuelo de gaviota, que ha visto un pez de plata en el agua saltar. Y piensa, ¿es esta vida una ilusión marina de un pescador que un día ya no puede pescar?
You want to fly? You've got to give up the shit that weighs you down. At some point in life, the world's beauty becomes enough. You don't need to photograph pain or even remember it. It is enough. She's a friend of mine. She gathered me back. The pieces I am, she gathered them and give them back to me. Anger. It's a paralyzing emotion. You can't get anything done. People sort of think it's an interesting, passionate, and igniting feeling. I don't think of hard, distorting glass. When they approach me, they see only my surroundings, themselves, or figments of their imagination. Indeed, everything and anything except me. And walk softly so as not to awake the sleeping ones. Sometimes it's best not to awaken them. There are few things in them. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. First, forget inspiration. Habit is more dependable. Habit will sustain you whether you're inspired or not. Habit will help you finish and polish your stories. Inspiration won't. Habit is persistence in practice. You don't start out writing good stuff. You start out writing crap and thinking it's good stuff. And then gradually you get better at it. That's why I say one of the most valuable traits is persistence. Beware. Ignorance protects itself. Ignorance promotes suspicion. Suspicion engenders fear. Fear quails, irrational and blind, or fear looms, defiant and closed. Blind, closed, suspicious, afraid, Ignorance protects itself, and protected, ignorance grows. The world is full of painful stories. Sometimes it seems as though there aren't any other kind, and yet I found myself thinking how beautiful that glint of water was through the trees. All struggles are essentially power struggles. Who will rule? Who will lead? Who will define, refine, confine, design? Who will dominate? All struggles are essentially power struggles, and most are no more intellectual than two rams knocking their heads together. Embrace diversity, unite, or be divided, robbed, ruled, killed by those who see you as prey. Poisoning our seas and destroying our forests, it is stopping us poisoning our minds and destroying our souls. Our dominant value, sometimes I fear our only value, has very clearly become that of power. This aligns us with a brain system, that of the left hemisphere, the raison d'etre of which is to control and manipulate the world, but not to understand it. That, for evolutionary reasons that I explain, has come to be more the raison d'etre of our more intelligent, in every sense right, hemisphere. Unfortunately, the left hemisphere, knowing less, thinks it knows more. It is a good servant, but a ruinous, a peremptory master. And the predictable outcome of assuming the role of master is the devastation of all that is important to us, or should be important. I search out what it is we have lost sight of. All that is there for us to see, if only we were not blinded to it. An inexhaustibly, truly wondrous, creative, living universe, not a meaningless, moribund mechanism. These two are in no way in conflict with one another, but they corroborate the wisdom of the great spiritual traditions across the world. All this converges on a vision that is necessary if we are to survive, and even more importantly, if we are to deserve to survive. How do you lose a word? Does it vanish into your memory like an old toy in a cupboard and lie hidden in the cobwebs and dust, waiting to be cleaned out or rediscovered? Contrary to what I might like to think, my life is not guided by reason. It is ruled rather by the inertia of habitual motion. The great, irreplaceable potentiality of fiction is that it makes possible the imagining of possibilities. Irony has only emergency use. Carried over time, it is the voice of the trapped who've come to enjoy their cage. The passage into mystery always refreshes. If, when we work, we can look once a day upon the face of mystery, then our labor satisfies. We are lightened when our gifts rise from pools we cannot fathom. Then we know they are not a solitary egotism, and there is not creation so much as invocation. Part of the work cannot be made, it must be received, and we cannot have this gift except perhaps by supplication, like I've read. I am not sure that I exist, actually. I am all the writers that I have ever read, all the people that I've met, all that I have loved, all the cities I've visited. And an artist must feel this more intensely. All that happens to us, including our humiliations, our misfortunes, our embarrassments, all is given to us as raw material, as clay, so that we may shape our art. So plant your own gardens and decorate your own soul, instead of waiting for someone to bring you flowers. unless you can improve the silence. When writers die, they become books, which is, after all, not too bad an incarnation. A book is more than a verbal structure or series of verbal structures. It is the dialogue it establishes with its reader and the intonation it imposes upon its voice, and the changes of relationship, an axis of innumerable relationships. The library should contain as much of what you do not know as your financial means allow you to put there. You will accumulate more knowledge and more books as you grow older, and the growing number of unread books on the shelf will look at you menacingly. Indeed, the more you know, the larger the rows of unread books. Let us call this collection of unread books an anti-library. Let us call this an anti-scholar, someone who focuses on the unread books and makes an attempt not to treat his knowledge as a treasure, or even a possession, or even a self-esteem enhancement device, a skeptical empiricist. Books are not made to be believed, but to be subjected to inquiry. When we consider a book, we mustn't ask ourselves what it says, but what it means. Until then, I had thought each book spoke of the things, human or divine, that lie outside books. Now I realized that not infrequently, books speak of books. It is as if they spoke amongst themselves. In the light of this reflection, the library seemed all the more disturbing to me. It was then the place of a long, centuries-old murmuring, an imperceptible dialogue between one parchment and another, a living thing, a receptacle of powers not to be ruled by a human mind. Perhaps the most dangerous and powerful of all weapons. Everything you need for a better future and success has already been written. And guess what? All you have to do is go to the library. To ask why we need libraries at all, when there is so much information available elsewhere, is about as sensible as asking if road maps are necessary, now that there are so very many roads. If you have a garden and a library, you have everything you need. A library. Despicable is to be contemptuous of other people's pain. Perhaps home is not a place, but simply an irrevocable condition. You think your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world, but then you read. It was books that taught me that the things that tormented me most were the very things that connected me with all the people who were alive, who had ever been alive.
En el fondo del mar hay una casa de cristal.